Hello everybody and welcome back to another My Porch Prints tutorials. This is Kyra and today I'm going to be showing you how to put together this little neutral scrappy folio that you can tuck into a journal or maybe send to somebody as like happy mail or something like that. It's just a quick fun tutorial that you can do in an afternoon if you're just looking for something to make. Now I made this based off of an image I saw on Pinterest. It didn't have any instructions or anything like that, but I thought, oh, you know what, making a little folio could be fun and inspiring, so I'm gonna go ahead and give it a shot. I just sort of made it up as I went, so a lot of these are just scrap pieces, and I'm gonna just kind of show you how to make it step by step, but you could do this using any of the My Porch Prints kits in our shop. So go ahead and just grab some paper, some ephemera, some envelopes, some pockets, and let's jump into it. Alright, so to begin, I am taking this paper here. It's actually printed on cardstock, and I did run it through the printer front and back, just using some papers that I liked. And to begin, we're going to take a ruler, and I'm going to measure out about 1.5 inches from the top of my page, just like this, using a pencil. And again, that's 1.5 inches for anybody who can't see here. And I'm going to do it on both sides. And this is just going to mark off a piece that we're going to cut off to help this fit a little bit better into my journal. I'm using a paper cutter here to get a good straight line. Again, we have a link for this in our Amazon shop if anyone's interested. And I'm just cutting it again a little bit shorter so that it can fit in my journal and look nice while still being large enough to fit something like an envelope inside of it. So that's kind of what I was using as my measurement here, was my largest ephemera piece. And that's also going to help me figure out where I want to fold. I know I want it to be large enough for the envelope to fit inside, but I need whatever is on the left side of my crease to be shorter than the right side. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're measuring your own. I'm going to go ahead and fold it over here, and you can see that this left piece is just a little bit shorter than the right side. All right, very important for how we're going to kind of fold our folio. All right, go ahead and give it a good crease here. And then we're going to go ahead and crease this little piece that's sticking out here on the right side. Just kind of fold it over using this line kind of as a guide for where to fold. Just like that. And that's going to kind of give us like a little envelope flap here. All right. And if you have any extra that's sort of sticking off, try to fold things straight, but if it's kind of sticking out awkwardly like mine is here, I'm just going to take some scissors and just trim it down. It's kind of the lazy way of fixing it, but it works in a pinch. And once you kind of have it folded, you can fold it this way, or you can fold it with this flap on top, which is what I'm going to do. But I am going to trim it back just a little bit to kind of expose this part underneath. So I didn't really do any measuring. I just kind of eyeballed where I wanted to cut it. So maybe 1/2 inch cut off from this side here. And then I'm going to round all of my corners using a corner rounding punch. Now, if you don't have one of these, you can just use scissors and round the corners that way if you want to, or leave it. It's up to you. We do have this in our Amazon shop, linked down in the description box if you're interested. Something to note is that since this is folded, it is going to take a little bit more pressure to chop those corners, but if you persevere, you can get it done. And this just gives the piece a little bit more of a like finished professional look in my opinion, so that's kind of why I did it. And then I'm going to take some distress ink in the color Vintage Photo and go over all the edges. Now, looking back on it, I kind of wish I'd used a different colored ink. I think this was just a little too warm maybe, so that's just my opinion, but I thought I'd mention it here. And then I'm going to use this little ephemera card and cut out this butterfly. Now, we do have fussy cut butterflies in our shop, but I was too lazy to print out a whole sheet, so I just decided to cut this one out and save myself a little bit of ink and time. And then reaching into my scrap box, I just found a paper that I thought would look nice in this project, and I'm just tearing it down until it fits on the front of my envelope piece. And I'm going to go over all of these pieces with some distress ink just to kind of make sure they match. And I'll talk a little bit here about all of these little ephemera pieces and layers that we're going to use to decorate the cover. But first, we're going to put together a closure system for our little envelopes. So to do that, I am grabbing a pencil here, and I'm going to mark out where I want to poke my holes in my little envelope here, okay? So it doesn't have to be perfect, just kind of try to get them straight across from each other like this. You can put them near the top, middle, bottom, anywhere is fine. This is just what I did. And I'm using a Crop-A-Dile to punch those holes out. Again, link in our Amazon shop. If you're interested, I would really recommend, if you're going to splurge on something, to get the Crop-A-Dile punch. It's just been very useful in all of our projects. So not sponsored, just I use this tool a lot and it's pretty great. And it also comes with an eyelet press, which is what we're going to use to pop some eyelets into these holes we just punched here, just like this. Flatten those out. And that's gonna make a quick little closure that we can just thread through with some jute cord or string or ribbon, or anything you have on hand is fine. Just wanna thread it through the first hole and then the second on the inside, just like this. And then you can tie that in like a little bow, and that's just gonna make a really quick closure for this little folio. Alright, so next you can see I have all of these little ephemera pieces, my little butterfly. I grabbed some like journal words, some fussy cuts, like a faux stamp, these little pieces of scrap paper. This is actually from the folio that we cut off earlier. Just rounded the corners, went over it with some distress ink. And I'm going to begin layering up these pieces. So taking that big scrap that I mentioned earlier, that I tore the edges off of, we're going to start with that one. And then I'm going to move on to this little piece of like lacy ribbon. I think this comes from Walmart, I believe. And just gluing down my layers here. I am using Fabri-Tac glue, again, linked in our Amazon shop. We get a lot of people asking what kind of glue we use. Fabri-Tac has worked for me for paper, metal, fabric. It's been really useful, so I do recommend it. And I'm just gonna glue things down where I think they look nice, kind of just staggering them, going over them again with distress ink, and just kind of finding what I liked. Again, I was making this whole project up as I went, so I did lay things out ahead of time before gluing them down. That really helped me get an idea of what I wanted it to look like in the end, so I do recommend that. All right. And just layering up pieces I feel like went together and fit the theme. I did fold my butterfly in half to give it a little bit of dimension, added some glue to the center and then glued it down that way, and you'll really want to let that dry before you mess with your folio too much more. Just make sure that it's got some good sticking power, but it gives it a little bit of dimension. Same with layering up scraps, scrap fabrics, scrap fussy cuts. The more layers, the better. It's just gonna make it look really, you know, full and complete and decorative. Alright, so finishing up here, a couple pieces of scrap ribbon and these little faux stamps that we have here. We do have a kit in our shop if you're interested. I'll try to link some of the kits that I used down below. It was a bunch of scraps, so I might have trouble finding things, but I will try my best. Alright, so that is the cover of our folio done. Just a quick, simple decorating. It's very scrappy, very junky. And now we're gonna work on the inside really fast. So I am grabbing one of my envelopes and a pocket from one of our kits. The pocket was a little too tall. It was covering up my, like the little hole for the closure. So I just trimmed the bottom off and for some reason didn't want to waste the scrap and just glued it to the top half. I don't know. That's junk journaling for you. Just glue it down wherever it looks nice, I guess. So did glue the pocket down, and now I'm adding like a little journal word to the front, and you could get a lot more decorative with the inside if you wanted to. Again, I just wanted to keep things kind of simple today and give you a quick tutorial here. So I did glue this envelope down as well, and for a closure, I'm just taking one of my faux stamps and adding glue to the bottom half of it like this. Just the bottom half. Make sure none of the glue gets on the top because we don't want to actually glue the envelope shut. Unless you want to, I guess. I don't, so I'm just keeping glue to the bottom half, and we're gonna let that dry for a little bit while we fill the pocket with some ephemera, some random scraps here, just anything that kind of looks nice. Different sizes, different shapes. You can go over things with distress ink around the corners, or you could even add, you know, little ribbons or things like that. Again, just keeping things simple today. And then once the little envelope closure is dry, I'm going to add a couple of cards inside of it like this, just kind of layering them up, nothing too fancy. But the white on the top of the envelope was bothering me. I didn't print this front and back because again, I just pulled it out of the scrap box, so it was already cut. So a quick and dirty way to fix that is I'm just going to take a scrap piece of paper from my scrap box that I like, flip it over, and then trace the outline of my envelope on top of it, just like this. And then I'm going to cut that out and glue that down. And that's just going to kind of cover up that white, make it look a little bit more finished, a little more decorative. You could use some distress ink or again print things front and back to save you the trouble, but in a pinch this does work, and again it helps get rid of scraps. So alright, and that is going to finish up the decorating on the inside, just keeping things nice and simple. I didn't want this to get too thick or too full or too complicated today. So this is kind of what it looks like when it's all finished, and you can just take your string, tie it closed, and glue it into your journal on any page you like, or tuck it maybe into a belly band, or mail it as happy mail, or give it away as a card with a gift. Just kind of a quick little folio that you could do on, you know, an afternoon where you're bored. Alright, so that is going to finish up today's project. I am going to have several more tutorials lined up with little quick projects like these, so make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of those upcoming tutorials. And we're also moving into the holiday season. We've got a lot of new kits and things planned for the release of that season. So keep an eye on our shop. If you want to kind of know about upcoming projects and videos and things like that, we do have a newsletter that you can sign up for on our website, which I will link down below, and you do get a free kit when you sign up, so definitely consider that if you haven't already. But otherwise, thank you so much for crafting along with me today, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye!